It is no accident that these words have found their way to you. Deep inside, a frequency is already resonating, one that not everyone can reach. You felt it, haven't you? That mysterious pull, as if something unseen is guiding you toward an extraordinary moment that is about to unfold. This is not coincidence. This is quantum alignment. Right here and now, your consciousness is vibrating at a wavelength that has drawn this message into your awareness. Every subtle synchronicity, the random scroll that stopped here, the sudden urge to search for answers, the restless nights spent wondering about your purpose, all of it has been woven together by an intelligence far greater than logic can grasp. Something profound is moving through the quantum field, unlike anything humanity has commonly perceived. The veil between dimensions grows thinner, and those attuned to its shifts, souls like yours, are beginning to feel the subtle magnetic waves that precede a transformation of reality. Your body is not malfunctioning when you feel currents of energy running through you in stillness. Your intuition is not misleading you when knowledge arrives unannounced, as if whispered from beyond. The vividness of your dreams is no accident. These are signs of preparation, a gentle initiation into something vast and extraordinary. The frequency you are aligning with is the same resonance that mystics, sages, and visionaries touched before their greatest breakthroughs, right before they stepped fully into their highest potential and became vessels of universal wisdom. And here lies the difference. Never before have the cosmic conditions aligned so perfectly. The earth itself hums in patterns that open rare gateways for expanded consciousness, gateways that once required years, even lifetimes of devotion to access. Now they stand before you, inviting you to step through. These gateways are now opening effortlessly for those whose unique energy signatures resonate with the incoming frequencies, and you, right now, are one of them. On a cellular level, your body is reorganizing itself to integrate higher dimensional knowledge. The tingling sensations, the flashes of sudden insight, the strange way time bends and stretches around you, they are all part of this shift. These are not signs that something is wrong with you. They are the first indicators that you are preparing to leap into the highest version of your reality. The real question is not if this is happening. It is whether you are ready to acknowledge it and step into the process consciously, instead of resisting what your soul has already chosen. Every challenge you've endured, every moment of doubt, every time you felt like you didn't quite belong, it was never random. Each experience has been calibrating your awareness, strengthening your capacity to hold the immense energy of what is arriving now. This is not abstract philosophy. This is quantum intelligence expressing itself through human consciousness, and you are on the edge of discovering how to harness it. Think of the moments when you glance at the clock and the numbers line up in perfect sequence, 11:11, 3:33, or other repeating patterns. Or when you walk into a room and the atmosphere feels so dense, as though you could almost touch the energy hanging in the air. When you think of someone and moments later they reach out. When dreams feel more vivid, more real than waking life, and then fragments of those dreams begin to unfold in front of you. These are not accidents. These are not illusions of the mind. They are signs that your awareness is beginning to operate across multiple dimensions at once. You are waking up to the quantum field in real time. And with that awakening comes the ability to perceive the hidden web of connections that most people's minds filter out. Time itself begins to shift for you, sometimes stretching endlessly, sometimes collapsing into fleeting moments. An hour might vanish in the blink of an eye, yet leave you feeling more replenished than a full night's rest. Or in conversation, you may feel as if you and another person are suspended in a bubble beyond time, exchanging truths without even speaking. This is what scientists describe as non-local consciousness, awareness that is no longer bound by the linear flow of time and space. Your brain is not breaking down, it is evolving. It is rewiring itself to process information across multiple streams of probability simultaneously. That is why you sometimes sense what someone will say before the words ever leave their lips. That is why you can sense the emotional atmosphere of a space even before you step inside. That is why your instincts have become so precise that they almost surprise you. On the quantum level, something extraordinary is happening. Your very presence, your attention itself, has grown powerful enough to influence reality. When you focus with a clear, elevated frequency, the world around you begins to reorganize itself to resonate with your energy. This is why manifestations seem to arrive more easily than before, but it also means your thoughts and emotions now carry far greater creative weight. What you dwell on, you amplify. What you feel deeply, you attract into form. You are operating in a range of awareness that allows you to experience what could be called reality bleed-through. Moments when other timelines, other versions of yourself, other possible futures brush against your perception. Perhaps you've had memories of events that never occurred here, or glimpses of realities that feel as real as waking life. Perhaps you've seen fragments of potential futures while meditating or in the quiet seconds before sleep. Perhaps you've even sensed yourself living multiple lives at once, a multi-dimensional self unfolding across infinite layers. This happens because your consciousness has reached a level of coherence strong enough to integrate higher dimensional information without losing its sense of identity. Where most people remain scattered, caught in regrets of the past or anxieties about the future, you have been cultivating something different. Mastery of the present moment. The ability to anchor yourself fully in the now while still perceiving the endless possibilities alive within the quantum field. This is preparation. Your nervous system is upgrading, recalibrating to carry the frequency of your highest timeline. And here is the truth. That highest timeline is not something you must build from scratch. It already exists. It is alive within the quantum field, waiting for you to align with it, to step into it, to claim it as your reality. Every challenge you have faced, every moment of doubt, every time you felt out of place while others seemed to move through life with ease, none of it was punishment. None of it meant you were unlucky, cursed, or somehow less deserving. It was all preparation. Cosmic training for the transformation you are now stepping into. Consider how quantum physics describes the leap of a particle. It does not crawl its way upward in tiny steps. It does not move slowly, inch by inch. The leap happens in an instant, and so will yours. First comes a phase that feels like chaos, instability, pressure building to the point where it seems unbearable. Imagine a particle absorbing energy, vibrating at frequencies that no longer fit its current state. From the outside, it might appear broken, as if something is malfunctioning. But that instability is not destruction. It is reorganization. The universe is gathering momentum, concentrating energy for an instantaneous leap. And then, in a moment that defies all logic, the particle shifts. No gradual climb, no steady progression. Suddenly, it exists at a completely different state of being, operating with entirely new capabilities. Your life has been guided by this very same principle. Every loss that stripped away your old identity. Every relationship that ended just when you thought love was within reach. Every career path that dissolved despite your determination. Every spiritual practice that failed you when you needed it most. Even the moments when you felt forgotten by the universe, as though you had been abandoned, were not signs of punishment. They were pressure points, necessary ruptures designed to dismantle the structures that kept you confined within a smaller version of yourself. Think of the caterpillar. It does not gradually sprout wings. Inside its cocoon, it literally dissolves into a formless state, its entire body breaking down before it can reorganize into something capable of flight. To an uninformed observer, it might look like death, but in truth, it is one of nature's most magnificent transformations. The challenges in your life have served the same purpose. They were meticulously aligned to dissolve patterns, attachments, and identities that belonged to your old timeline. Versions of yourself that could never withstand the frequency of your highest reality. The version of you that exists in that higher state carries greater awareness, expanded capabilities, and access to resources that your old identity could not sustain. So the universe has been clearing space, removing everything that does not belong to who you are becoming. What felt like falling apart was actually falling into alignment. What felt like losing yourself was in truth a liberation, a shedding of the self that was too small for your destiny. What seemed like destruction was simply the dismantling of illusions, making room for a deeper, more accurate understanding of reality. That pressure you've been sensing, that rising intensity, that inner knowing that something must change, it is not a crisis. It is the final preparation before the leap. What you are experiencing is your consciousness tuning itself to the precise frequency required to step into your highest timeline. Your entire being is reorganizing at the cellular level to match the energetic signature of the version of you that exists in perfect harmony with universal intelligence. Every breakdown you endured was a hidden breakthrough. Every ending was the beginning of something greater waiting to be revealed. Every moment of isolation was preparation, a sacred pause before a depth of connection your former self could not yet comprehend. And now something is building within you. Can you feel it? That electric pulse rising from the space behind your heart, radiating outward through your entire nervous system. That sense of anticipation that isn't tied to any external event, but feels as though your very DNA is vibrating with possibility. This is not anxiety. This is not restlessness. This is not your mind creating illusions. This is your light body awakening. This is your personal quantum field stabilizing at a frequency capable of sustaining the consciousness of your highest reality. What you are sensing is the activation of dormant capacities within you, abilities present in all human beings, yet only awakened when awareness reaches a certain threshold of coherence. Your very cells are restructuring themselves to act as superconductors of universal wisdom. Your neural pathways are rewiring to translate signals from the quantum field directly, bypassing the limitations of the five senses. Your pineal gland is awakening as a refined receiver for non-local intelligence. Your heart's electromagnetic field is expanding, influencing and harmonizing with a much wider sphere than before. But here is the truth that many overlook. This process requires your conscious participation. The universe can prepare you. It can set the conditions. It can align the cosmic forces in your favor. But the leap itself, the actual quantum jump, only occurs when you choose alignment, when you step willingly into your highest potential. And right now, the energy within you is reaching critical mass. You are approaching the threshold where clinging to fear, doubt, or old patterns will feel heavier and more painful than releasing them. Very soon, staying the same will no longer be possible. Expansion will be the only way forward. The frequency you are now embodying will begin to clash with people, places, and circumstances that once felt familiar. They will no longer resonate. Instead, you will feel an undeniable pull, almost magnetic, drawing you toward experiences, opportunities, and connections aligned with your new energetic signature. And this is when the true magic begins. This is the moment you stop seeing yourself as a passive bystander to circumstance, and instead become an active participant in the unfolding of the quantum field. This is when you realize that your highest timeline is not simply an improved version of your current life. It is an entirely new operating system for human consciousness. But there is something vital to understand about this transition, something that will determine whether you step fully into your quantum leap or remain suspended in what can only be described as timeline limbo. That in-between state where you sense the vastness of your potential but struggle to access it consistently. The difference between those who make the leap and those who remain on the edge is not what most people think. It is not about clinging to positive thoughts or endlessly practicing manifestation techniques or trying to force your vibration higher. It is something far deeper, more practical, and astonishingly immediate. And before I reveal what that is, I want you to pause and notice what is already happening within you. Feel the subtle response of your entire system to these words. Notice how something inside you, beyond logic, beyond analysis, is recognizing truth. Feel the energy we are generating together, because what follows has the power to change everything you believe about your own potential. I must share something with you now, something I have never spoken about openly before, but I can sense that you are ready. And more importantly, I can sense that you need to hear this, so that you will know you are not walking this path alone. There came a point when it felt as though every cell in my body was vibrating with such intensity that I was being torn apart from within. For months, I believed I was suffering from panic attacks, yet they were not triggered by fear or stress. They were triggered by stillness, by moments of peace, by meditation, or any attempt to connect with what I thought was my spiritual path. My entire reality was dissolving, and I felt like I was losing my mind. Everyone around me, doctors, therapists, even spiritual mentors, tried to repair what they thought was broken. They offered diagnoses, medications, techniques to manage anxiety. But none of it worked, because nothing was wrong with me. What was happening was not pathology. It was metamorphosis. My consciousness was trying to expand beyond the limits of an identity I had long outgrown. And I fought it desperately because I believed I was supposed to. The most painful part wasn't the physical sensations or the distortions of reality or even the loneliness of feeling unseen. The hardest part was the voice in my head whispering that I was delusional, that I was inventing stories to escape responsibility, that I was simply too weak to handle ordinary life. But everything shifted when I did one thing. I stopped resisting. I stopped trying to fix myself. I stopped trying to claw my way back to what I thought was normal. Instead, I asked a single question. If this isn't happening to me, but happening for me, then what is the universe preparing me for? And in that moment, something extraordinary happened. It was as if an entire download of truth poured into me, rewriting my understanding of human consciousness. I saw my highest timeline, not as something to strive toward, but as something already alive, already waiting, already calling me to align with it. I realized that every moment of confusion, every sensation that felt like death, every instance of believing I was going insane, all of it was simply my old operating system breaking down, making space for capacities that exist far beyond ordinary perception. And the instant I surrendered, everything changed. Not slowly, instantly. My external reality began reorganizing to match the frequency I had finally allowed myself to embody. Opportunities arose that aligned perfectly with my purpose. People entered my life who saw and supported the version of me that was emerging. Resources became available that I never could have accessed from my previous level of awareness. And perhaps the most important realization of all was this: what I was experiencing was not unique to me. It was not rare. It was not reserved for a chosen few. It was the natural process of human consciousness evolving, a transformation that every soul is destined to encounter in its own time. And it is happening everywhere, to sensitive, aware individuals across the planet, including you. The reason I share this message, the reason I create this content, is because I know you are moving through some version of this process. I want you to understand that what you are feeling is not a flaw. It is not what's wrong with you. It is everything that is right within you, finally activating. If these words resonate with something deep inside, if you recognize your own experience reflected in what I describe, then this is your invitation to align with this frequency. Not just this channel, but this level of awareness about your transformation. Because what comes next will show you how to navigate this shift consciously, rather than feeling like it is happening to you. Here's the truth that few consciousness experts, spiritual teachers, or even quantum thinkers reveal about accessing higher states of awareness. The difference between authentic quantum consciousness and spiritual bypassing has nothing to do with what you believe or what practices you follow. The real difference lies in whether your nervous system can sustain the frequency you are reaching for, without fragmenting, without disassociating from reality. Much of what is taught as raising your vibration or expanding awareness actually keeps people trapped in their minds, building elaborate ideas of awakening that remain disconnected from the embodied experience of quantum coherence. You could meditate for decades, consume every sacred text, attend countless retreats, and still remain cut off from the living intelligence that flows through the quantum field in real time. The surprising truth is this: your highest timeline is not reached by escaping the human experience. It is reached by becoming so deeply present, so grounded, so fully alive in this moment that your awareness naturally expands to include the multidimensional reality unfolding around you. And here is where it becomes even more fascinating. This level of presence is only possible when your nervous system has been conditioned to withstand intense frequencies without collapsing into fear, avoidance, or shutdown. Think of all the struggles you've endured, the pressure, the overwhelming moments, the times you thought you couldn't handle what life demanded of you. Those weren't punishments, they weren't failures, they were training. Your nervous system has been conditioned for this very purpose, to stay online, to remain present, to hold awareness even under extreme pressure. Because quantum consciousness is not an escape from reality, not a soft cloud of bliss that shields you from life. It is the ability to remain coherent while processing immense streams of information flowing simultaneously across multiple dimensions. This is why wishful thinking and empty affirmations no longer work for you. Your consciousness has matured beyond the stage where you can trick yourself into temporary comfort with mental techniques. What you need now is true coherence, the alignment of thought, emotion, nervous system, and energetic frequency into one unified field that can interface directly with universal intelligence. And here is what may surprise you. Coherence is not something you manufacture through effort, struggle, or discipline. Coherence is something you allow. It arises when you stop resisting, when you remove the inner blockages that prevent your natural state of wholeness from shining through. Every time you judge your experiences wrong, every time you try to fix yourself, optimize yourself, or measure your awakening against some external standard, you create fragmentation in your field. You pull yourself away from the natural harmony already encoded within you. Your highest timeline exists in perfect coherence, where every aspect of your being is aligned with the deepest purpose of your soul. The version of you living in that state does not wrestle with self-doubt, imposter syndrome, or feelings of inadequacy. Not because those human emotions vanish, but because that version of you rests in an unshakable knowing of your inherent worth. In that reality, external validation becomes irrelevant. The quantum leap happens when you stop striving to prove your worth, when you stop believing you must earn your place in alignment. The leap begins the moment you recognize you already are that version of yourself. What you've been experiencing as struggle is nothing more than temporary interference from old programming, whispering lies about your value. And the shift is not somewhere far away. It is happening now. Your consciousness is synchronizing with your highest timeline, and there are unmistakable signs unfolding in your daily life that reveal you are in the final stages before the leap. These signs are not vague, not abstract. They are practical, observable, and undeniable. The first sign, your tolerance for inauthenticity has vanished completely. Conversations that once felt tolerable now leave you drained. People you used to spend time with suddenly feel as though they exist on an entirely different wavelength. You find yourself unable to pretend anymore, unable to feign interest in small talk or force enthusiasm for things that no longer align with your deeper calling. This isn't you turning antisocial. This is your energetic signature becoming so finely tuned that it no longer resonates with experiences of a lower vibration. The second sign is your changing relationship with time itself. When you're immersed in something aligned with your highest purpose, hours vanish in what feels like minutes, and yet you emerge more energized than when you began. But the opposite is just as true. Even 5 minutes spent on something out of alignment feels endless, draining every ounce of energy. This happens because your awareness is shifting into what physicists call flow time, a state where consciousness is so fully present that linear time bends and becomes flexible. The third sign is what can only be described as reality confirmation. These are moments when your inner knowing is mirrored back to you with startling precision through the outer world. You think of someone and they suddenly reach out. You ask a question in silence, and the answer appears in the next conversation, the next article, the next video. You need specific guidance, and it flows into your awareness through channels that appear random, but are anything but random. This is your intuitive guidance system coming fully online. The fourth sign is the transformation of your decision-making. You no longer rely on endless analysis of pros and cons, or the mental gymnastics of figuring out what you should do. Instead, you simply know. On a cellular level, your body itself becomes the compass. Aligned choices bring expansion, energy, and a sense of lightness. Misaligned choices create contraction, heaviness, and fatigue. You are no longer navigating by logic alone, but by coherence. And then comes the fifth sign, a profound sense of cosmic homesickness, a longing for something you can't name, a sense that you belong somewhere you haven't yet found, a feeling that you are meant for something far greater than what your current circumstances reveal. This is not dissatisfaction with life. It is your soul pulling you toward your highest timeline. But here is the crucial truth. The season of waiting is over. The universe has been preparing you, refining you, clearing the path ahead. Yet there comes a moment when preparation itself becomes avoidance. A moment when the energy building within you reaches critical mass and demands expression, through action, through choice, through the courage to step fully into who you are becoming. And you can feel it, can't you? That rising urgency that has nothing to do with deadlines or obligations and everything to do with alignment. The pull is no longer external, it is internal. It is your soul declaring the time is now. That deep knowing you feel that something must shift, that something must be claimed, chosen, or stepped into, is not anxiety. It is activation energy reaching the precise frequency for transformation. The cosmic conditions supporting this shift in consciousness are unique and they are temporary. The electromagnetic field of Earth itself is fluctuating in patterns that open rare gateways for massive leaps in awareness. These gateways do not remain open forever. They are fleeting. And those who are sensitive enough to feel the pull, souls like you, are the ones with the opportunity to anchor this new level of consciousness into the physical world. This is no longer just about your personal awakening. This is about your role in the collective evolution of humanity. The leap you are preparing to make will not only reshape your life, it will create ripples that inspire and guide others to step into their own highest timelines. Remember this truth. What you want wants you back. Let that sink in. Every desire that feels impossibly large, every vision that seems beyond your current reach, every dream that makes your heart pound even as your mind doubts, none of it is random. Your desires are not illusions. They are the universe's way of calling you forward, pulling you toward your highest reality. This is where most people lose their way. They mistake manifestation for a game of attraction, believing they must pull things toward themselves through willpower, visualizations, affirmations, or endless techniques. And while such practices may create temporary results, they miss the deeper truth. Attraction implies separation, as if what you want is far away, and you must somehow draw it closer. Alignment reveals something more profound. Everything you desire already exists within the quantum field, alongside the version of you who is already living it. The leap is not about summoning your desires to your current state of being. The leap is about becoming the version of yourself who naturally exists in that reality. Your highest timeline is not simply an improved version of your present life. It is a completely different operating system, a reality where what you once called goals become natural expressions of who you are. In that reality, you don't work to feel confident. Confidence flows effortlessly from alignment with your soul's purpose. You don't chase abundance. Abundance flows through you because you exist as a clear channel for universal intelligence. The reason your desires feel so vivid, the reason they feel real even before they manifest physically, is because you are already connected to that frequency. You are already receiving signals, glimpses, flashes of the self you become when you make the leap. But here lies the key. Whether those glimpses crystallize into your permanent reality or remain just tantalizing possibilities forever out of reach depends on something very specific, and it is not what you have been taught. That inner knowing, the urge that something must shift, must be claimed, must be chosen, is not anxiety. It is activation energy resonating at the exact frequency required for transformation. And the truth is, the cosmic conditions that support this level of awakening are temporary. The Earth itself is pulsing with electromagnetic patterns that are opening rare windows of opportunity for massive leaps in human awareness. But these windows do not remain open forever. They are fleeting, and those who can feel the pull, people like you, are the ones with the chance to anchor this new consciousness into the physical world. This is no longer just about your personal evolution. This is about your role in the collective awakening of humanity. The quantum leap you are preparing to make will not only transform your life, it will create ripples that support countless others in stepping into their own highest timelines. Remember this truth. What you want wants you back. Every desire that feels too vast for your current reality, every vision that seems impossible from where you stand, every dream that ignites your soul while sending your mind into panic. None of it is random. These desires are not distractions. They are invitations. The universe is calling you forward through them, guiding you to align with your highest timeline. But here is where most people stumble. They believe manifestation is about pulling things toward themselves through sheer willpower, visualization, or endless affirmations. They think it's about becoming magnetic, reprogramming, or constantly raising their vibration. And while these may bring glimpses of change, they miss the fundamental truth. Attraction suggests separation, that what you want is far away and must be drawn to you. Alignment reveals the deeper reality, that everything you desire already exists within the quantum field, including the version of you who is already living it. The leap is not about chasing your desires. It is about becoming the version of yourself who naturally exists in the same reality as those desires fulfilled. Your highest timeline is not a slightly improved version of your current life. It is an entirely new operating system. In that reality, confidence is not something you force. It is simply how your nervous system responds when aligned with your soul's purpose. Abundance is not something you chase. It flows through you because you are a clear channel for universal intelligence. The reason your desires feel so vivid, so alive, is because you are already connected to them. You are already receiving signals from that timeline, already experiencing flashes of the self you are becoming. But whether those glimpses solidify into your permanent reality or remain tantalizing possibilities always just out of reach depends on one thing, and it is not what you've been taught. It depends on your choice. Subscribe to this channel, step fully into this frequency, and allow yourself to align with the highest version of who you are. Share this message with someone who needs to hear it, because together we are anchoring the next wave of human consciousness. Your leap is waiting, and the universe is ready when you are.